Following one of the best test matches of recent times between Ireland and the All Blacks, in this video I'm going to be having a look at some of the key statistics and player performances which led the All Blacks to an impressive victory over the number one team in the world. As always, please do let me know in the comment section down below what you think about the statistics. Do you feel like they gave a fair reflection of how the game felt to watch? And what key statistic do you feel like was most important to lead the All Blacks over the finishing line? So I'm going to start off with possession and territory first. The Irish winning both of these two statistics. They beat the All Blacks possession-wise 55% to 45. The All Blacks throughout many passages in this game were absorbing so much Irish attack. The All Blacks defence held very strong at times, impressively so, with the Irish really throwing all but the kitchen sink at them. And then the territory, 59% to 41% of the All Blacks. The Irish winning this stat as well. Ireland played in the right areas for good portions of the game, but this just gives even more credit to the All Black defence. Look, the Irish probably made from the 10 metre line to the 20 metre line of the All Blacks, they made those metres very comfortably, but as soon as the Irish got inside the All Blacks 22, that's when the All Blacks really turned the screw defensively and put a lot of pressure on the Irish attack. And look, as soon as they sort of got 10, 15 metres out, it was very difficult to then continue to knock off the metres. So very impressive from the All Blacks, but the Irish do come out on the right side of those two statistics, but unfortunately weren't able to convert them into points. Metres carried was also dominated by the Irish by 633 to 467 of the All Blacks. The Irish definitely made quite a few metres. That is almost just over a kilometre combined between the two sides. That is an indication of what is a quality game to watch. There was massive moments of thrills, highs and lows, especially when it came to metres carried. A couple line breaks from either side, which really got the pulse raising. Look, the Irish, through the structure that they play, they do make a lot of metres. The All Blacks at times opted not to blitz and risk missing tackles, but rather sort of drift, lay off at times, especially when they were numbers down in defence, and just focus on tackle completion as opposed to stopping the metres being made. So look, an interesting defensive strategy on the edge from the All Blacks, and ultimately it worked, so fair play to them. The All Blacks made a lot of their metres when you probably wouldn't expect them to. It wasn't necessarily from the same structure the Irish like to play. The All Blacks got most of their metres from just moments of brilliance from amazing attacking players. If you think about Fainga'anuku down the left-hand side of the field, linking up with Rieko Ioane, and then at the other winger in Will Jordan going, 50 metres, a combined of over 50 metres with Richie Mo'unga and Will Jordan to score their try. So look, the metres came in different ways, but ultimately the Irish edged that stat as well. Defenders beaten falls in the Irish favour as well. Now, look, a team that has more possession is highly likely to beat more defenders. That's just the way it works. So the All Blacks did very well. The scramble defence was very impressive. So look, you can see the Irish have beaten defenders here, but it was the ability to make that follow-up tackle and then scramble to flood the outside channels to stop the Irish from exploiting numbers down in the wide channels. So it was the real scramble and willingness to just fight for each other in the All Black side that meant they could scramble their defence so well and make the tackles, in which were ultimately pivotal in the end. The Irish make a boatload more passes than the All Blacks. The Irish at times, especially at the end of the game, were going wide to wide, really trying to find any opening in that All Blacks defence, which for the most part in the game was just so impressive. And they managed to move the ball very nicely, some brilliant rugby to watch. And look, from a younger person watching that, it is just phenomenal to see the skill level in which these players have managed to capture, to be able to move the ball with such precision, resource the rucks so well, even in the wide channels. It really was brilliant to watch. Tackles, the All Blacks end up making 25% more tackles than the Irish. Once again, the All Blacks defended their heart out. You look on previewing the game, you probably wouldn't expect the All Blacks to be making more tackles and have less possession. You probably think the Irish would be the more set piece dominant team, and the All Blacks would just be pinging the ball about left, right, and centre. But it was actually the other way round, and the stern defence of the All Blacks was just so impressive. A lot of these tackles from the All Blacks were some real thudding hits. A very physical game throughout, and you would have thought a team making 226 tackles wouldn't have had as much energy as the All Blacks ended up having in these, 78th to 80th minute. They really did fight for everything in those last few seconds, which ultimately gives credit to their fitness and endurance as well. Tackle percentage, both teams tackled at roughly the same percent, with the Irish just 1% higher with 83% tackle completion to the All Blacks 82%. Both teams have brilliant attacks, so look, conceding a missed tackle is very easy to be done. It works out about 1 missed tackle in 5, so not awful statistics. Look, many teams do have it a little bit higher than that, but both teams have phenomenal attacks, so it is really not a surprise. Kicks in play, look, the All Blacks kick it a third more than the Irish, which was probably unexpected going into the game. The Irish kept the ball in hand for a lot of the game, and they like to play out from their own half. Johnny Sexton setting up the pods well inside his own 22 and had showed some great courage to really attack the All Blacks in that facet. And the boot of Aaron Smith, Jordie Barrett and Richie Mo'unga. So the All Blacks have got so many good kicking options there. Really did help to keep the Irish pinned back, especially later on in the game. There was a lot of talk throughout this World Cup of the balls actually travelling further off the boot, so maybe that does lend itself into the hands of a long kicking game. I saw James Lowe kick the ball a long way, and so did Jordie Barrett and Will Jordan. They really did put their foot through the ball, and ultimately that helped the All Blacks play in the right areas of the pitch later on in the game. Line-out steals, which although it doesn't seem a lot of line-out steals with only 2 from the All Blacks to the Irish's 0, these came at crucial times. Johnny Sexton turned down the shot at goal, went to the corner, back Dan Sheehan and the Irish second rows to claim the line-out ball, and ultimately it didn't quite work. Some brilliant disruption from Retallick and Scott Barrett and Frizzell in the line-out ultimately swung the game, and those moments in the game in the All Blacks' favour. When a team challenges you saying, look, we think we're better than 3 points, we're going to take you on at the corner, and they don't end up securing any form of points, it's a massive psychological blow. And then turnovers, one of the key points in the match. The All Blacks almost doubling the Irish turnovers. Really does go to show how important the back row of Sam Cane, Frizzell and Savea was in securing these turnovers for the All Blacks. It wasn't just the back row that are putting in good turnovers, it was the backs, it was the front 5, everyone working tirelessly to try and pilfer some Irish ball. It was very, very impressive to watch. And ultimately the key turnover from Sam Whitelock at the end won the game for the All Blacks. Now I've got 3 key player stats here just to bring to your attention. A massive 22 tackles from Sam Cane. That is just utterly ridiculous. You often see back rowers make sort of high teens tackles, sort of 18 tackles is still a massive shift, but to be making 22 tackles against some massive Irish ball carriers in which really carried with such intent is very, very impressive. James Lowe with 81 metres made. Look, I thought the metres made would potentially fall in the hands of Will Jordan, but James Lowe ends up with 81 metres made, but I don't believe he crossed the whitewash. So look, a lot of metres made, but unless you can turn that into points and tries, ultimately it is meaningless. But what it does show is the Irish can really attack and showed some great attacking intent and some brilliant phase plays. And ultimately it was the brilliance of the All Black defence at the end which really showed that they could defend collectively and very strongly. Bundee Aki with 13 carries over the gain line is the final statistic from the players. 13 carries over the gain line is nothing short of unbelievable. Bundee Aki carried tirelessly throughout the game. Look, he carried with such intent and really did add some good go forward for the Irish attack. But once again, it was not necessarily the first phase defence from the All Blacks that won it. It was the ability to sustain such defensive passages and not give in, which was simply phenomenal. Look, this is one of my favourite test matches that I've ever seen. I'll definitely be watching this one back. I've watched the highlights a couple of times. It really is a brilliant watch. And credit to both teams. It was a great advert for rugby. And look, the Irish will lick their wounds and attack the Six Nations and will be a very dangerous team in the Six Nations at the start of next year. And the All Blacks roll on to a semi-final and then what will be most likely a final as well. So look, credit to both teams. They played their hearts out in what was a brilliant game to watch. And let me know your thoughts on the statistics, which were the most important statistics in determining the outcome of the game. And thank you very much for watching.